Hi everyone, I'm Cece. Some of you may know me from TikTok, but if you're new here, I'm a mid-level associate at a large law firm in New York City. I do privacy and data security law, which honestly I love a lot and is the one area of law that has engaged me and kept me at a big law firm so far. This is actually my first vlog that I've tried to attempt. I filmed 3 vlogs before this, hated the first 2 times, just hated what I was saying, hated what I was doing. The 3rd vlog, I actually kind of liked enough to start editing, and as I was editing it and putting everything together, really spent 2 hours to only get 4 minutes of content because they don't teach you video editing in law school. After I was rewatching what I had so far, I was looking at it and just cringing and not understanding why I hated it so much until I thought a little bit more, and I think my downfall was that I am just really good at research and really good at trying to replicate what I learn. That is part of why I think I'm a good lawyer and part of what made me a good student for so long. However, in YouTube, in content creation, I think that did me a disservice. So before I launched this, I watched so many YouTubers. I watched so many vlogs, so many videos, and I was subconsciously, or honestly probably consciously, trying to emulate them as I was creating my own stuff and filming my own stuff. The problem is, when I was watching it back to myself, I realized that's not me. I'm not an aesthetic person. I'm not a fashionable person. I'm just a person who was really good at studying and studied for many years, all in the hopes that one day all the studying would pay off. That's really it. If I had been a more fashionable person or a more aesthetic person, then maybe middle school and high school wouldn't have been so awkward for me, and maybe I wouldn't have dressed the way I did back then. Thinking about it, it's horrifying. So I realized I was trying to recreate all of these like awesome aesthetic lifestyle New York City vlogs, and I was trying to recreate all these fashion vloggers and fashion YouTubers, when that's not who I am. I'm a lawyer, and I have information and insight into my life as a lawyer. So this is take 4. I am going to reuse some of the footage I filmed last weekend though, because I'm going to Hawaii this upcoming weekend and I won't have time to refilm a ton of stuff. The difference will be that you'll see that my nails kind of go backwards. I just got them done last weekend and I filmed part of my weekend before I got my nails done, so just willing suspension of disbelief, as they teach you in English class, okay? Just willing suspension of disbelief. I want to show you both the part of life of the work and the part of my life that's the play. So let's go. That they never really tell you in law school and when you become a lawyer is that you're not so much learning the law, you're learning another language of speaking, another language of writing, another language of interpreting things. So this morning I worked on an M&A. That means merger and acquisition. M&A, for those of you who don't know, is when you have one corporate entity buying another corporate entity or merging with it. There's multiple work streams for an M&A, but the one that I'm working on today is marking up the transaction documents. So the transaction document is like, you know, if you've ever bought like a car, they usually make you sign some form of agreement because it's a pretty big purchase and they require something more than just going to a store and just giving over money. When you buy a company, because it's such a big purchase, usually the two entities enter into something called a merger agreement or a purchase agreement or a share purchase agreement, stock purchase agreement. It can be called a number of things, but the point is that it is a legal agreement that kind of governs the sale of one company to another. While I can't show you the merger agreement that I am actually working on, I am going to show you the merger agreement of a deal that I did last year. It was a $27 billion deal. It was Salesforce's acquisition of Slack. Okay, so this is a publicly available document. It had to be filed with the SEC, and you can just look up merger agreements on the SEC website. Agreement and plan of merger by and among Salesforce, et cetera, and Slack. So this was a deal I worked on last year, and it was pretty much a mega deal. Everything had to happen in such a short time frame. So it's this like whole long document, many pages, as you can see, kind of governing the terms of the union. I like to say it's kind of like a prenup almost between two people, because the two people would be the two corporate entities, and in this document really there's a ton of parts in it, but the parts that I work on, they're called reps and warranties. Do you see this? Representations and warranties of the company. So this is where the target company, in this case Slack, they're making certain representations about themselves. If we were going to think about it like a prenup agreement, it would be probably something like, I represent to you that I make at least $200,000 a year. And if it turns out that your partner lied to you, then that's actually grounds for not entering into marriage, or perhaps you did enter into marriage and now you have to annul it. So that's probably the closest, most real life description I can think about for M&A. And this is kind of the corporate version of that. All right, so you see this like section 3.15, privacy and data protection. So this is the section that I worked on. This would be the representations that I negotiated as a part of my work on this deal. So you'll see it says things like, since January 1st, 2017, the companies and each company subsidiaries, receipt collection, blah, 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 blah. Just a bunch of promises really about what Slack, as the entity being acquired, did previously since January 1st, 2017. And a big part of working on this kind of stuff is that you have to really pay attention to how you define words. You'll realize that law is a lot about words. So we'll have terms here like protected information, to the company's knowledge. They're all capitalized. And the reason that they're capitalized is because they are defined to be a certain thing. During this whole transaction negotiation process, what I'll be doing is looking at the definitions that we use in the agreement, and of course the other side will try to make the definitions more favorable to them, and I'll try to make the definitions more favorable to our client. Let's take something as an example. In the Salesforce Slack agreement, there was this defined term, protected information. So because in this case I represented the buyer, I want protected information to be as broad as possible. I want to make sure it covers confidential information, proprietary information, really everything that Slack needs to do in order to run. But Slack, on the other hand, probably wants protected information, this defined term, to be narrower, so that they're making promises about a smaller subset of things. I think a corollary in the marriage prenup example that I've been talking about is basically, say you're getting married and you want to make this representation that I have no outstanding debts or tickets. But you define debts or tickets as debts or tickets in the United States, because you actually do have a speeding ticket from 5 years ago when you were in Iceland and you just haven't paid. Well, the other party, they could be like, oh, we should define debts and tickets to be worldwide, not just the United States. So depending on how you define debts and tickets here, it will impact whether you're being accurate when you make a promise to the other person, or it might impact whether you might actually not be being truthful when making such a promise to another person. So that's kind of how all these terms and all these representations work together. So it requires some analysis and understanding of what the definitions are and what is happening, where the risk is being shifted in the merger agreement. And then I'll take that analysis and think about what it should mean in terms of a negotiating position. And sometimes the negotiating position is more aggressive. Sometimes the negotiation position is a lot more lenient. It really just depends on how much money is at play, and also the bargaining powers relatively between the two entities. Some, you have like startups being bought by major companies. There's less bargaining power than when you do have the other way around. It is Friday at like 5:30 p.m. I have a friend, she lives in New Jersey now, but she and I were both at our first firm together in New York, and we just became like best friends. We worked on a pro bono case together for a criminal defense case, and it was just so interesting. It was for an alleged drug trafficker who had been extradited from Mexico to the US, and we were helping him with his case. And because it was pro bono, we got a lot of responsibility. We went to prison visits a lot together, separately, worked with translators, got a really interesting look into the Mexican drug cartels, and also went through a ton of discovery where we went through BBMs. Do you guys remember those? Like BlackBerry Messenger messages, because that's what they used to communicate with each other, and they used slang for various drugs. So like cocaine was called like ice. It was a really fun case. It did take up so much time though, and throughout the whole process we became really close. But then I left the firm, and then she left the firm, and she lives in New Jersey now. She's from New Jersey, loves New Jersey, so I don't actually get to see her a lot. But we had plans to go to the Jersey Shore last summer, but then of course COVID, the pandemic, so we couldn't exactly do that. But now that things are opening up again and we're both vaccinated, she's coming to the city. She worked out of her New York office today, and we will be getting dinner and drinks and catching up and probably talking a lot of gossip about our old firm, because that's what you do when you get together with ex-colleagues. Okay, this is what I'm wearing. I'm wearing like this blouse. It's kind of sheer, but kind of not. And then these jeans. Whoop. I really like ripped jeans. I feel like it's a love that I developed after working a lot, because I had to dress so professionally for work all the time. I got really nice professional clothes. And in my off time, like in my non-work time, I wanted to look as little like I was at work at all. Okay, so I'm gonna head to this restaurant and meet her, and hopefully not be late like I normally am.
You're gone now, will you coming back? Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that. You're the traveling kind. It's a known fact. Yeah, I know that. Once you've seen all the things, all the places, I hope it means that you'll come home to me. Once you've traveled the world, all the spaces inside your heart. I'll be your end destination. I hope I'll be your life-changing sensation.
Hey guys, we're at the Macy's Herald Square. There's this beautiful art installation. Maybe it's not an art installation, but it's just like a really beautiful, like sparkly thing. Do you see it? This is pretty cute. It really is. Thank you.
Whoever created this, like, well done.
Why did I do this to myself, guys? Why did I do this to myself? Happy Saturday. I really wanted to get a manicure today and pedicure because my nails are getting pretty long and also chipped. And the longer and more chipped, sorry, I have my mouth guard in. And the longer and more chipped my nails get, the more likely I am to pick at my cuticles or bite my nails or do other things that are really not good for your hands or skin. So it's a little bit of a splurge to always try and make sure that my nails are pretty neat, but it's the only method I've tried that helps me not destroy my cuticles or destroy my nails when I'm stressed or if I'm sitting at work on my desk. But the only available appointment that they had that worked for me was 9 a.m., which means that it's just really freaking early. And but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna survive.
So I got my manicure done. I'm pretty excited about that, and I am in the middle of trying to get dressed and ready for this thing that I'm about to go to. I am scarfing down jalapeno poppers that I put in the freezer because I can only make frozen food, and I am a little hungover, but not that bad, but like a little down. One of the plus sides of starting to create content on TikTok is that I get invited to certain things. The meatpacking district, that's one of the neighborhoods in New York. Pretty trendy, pretty sceney. I went to the clubs around there a lot more back when I was in my 20s. I think an interesting fact about New York is that each neighborhood kind of has like their own business development, business improvement district. I think that's what they're called. All of the businesses that basically are in that area, they can get together and throw events. So the meatpacking district, I guess they're doing this thing called Leaf Festival of Flowers. So I think they've decorated meatpacking so that's like really pretty, a ton of flowers. And in conjunction with that, I got invited to go to this reception, I think for the kickoff of this festival, where they're going to give us champagne, some cocktails, and light bites, which is actually kind of good because I love eating at these things. But hang on. So this waist is kind of small and unforgiving. It's a really cute romper, but it's not very forgiving here. So even though I'm really excited to eat the food because I love hors d'oeuvres, I don't know if this romper will actually let me eat any of the hors d'oeuvres, unfortunately. I really have to finish getting ready really quickly and then meet Callie, who I invited as my +1. Okay, I'm done getting ready. I feel, after eating those jalapeno poppers and coffee, like a much more real person. And I'm wearing these new earrings that I kind of got. They're from Missouri, but I think they're just so cute. And yes, this outfit with this really unforgiving waist, we'll see if I regret it in a few hours, probably, because that's always how it goes. But I gotta head out now. Is not symmetrical and it's very strange.
Gotcha.